Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jade and today I am doing my wrap up video for March. I successfully read 8 books this month, which is really awesome, and I did my big book every month, which was actually the first book I read this month. So the first book I read this month was Crooked Kingdoms by Leigh Bardugo. I finally finished the Six of Crows duology, which I'm really happy about because I've been wanting to do that for a while. And you guys, this book was really good and I really enjoyed it. If you guys don't know about this series, I'd be surprised. But it is about a group of very interesting characters that are in a gang and they decide to pull off this impossible heist. And then the second one, they kind of deal with a fallout from the heist, and you know, their lives kind of come together, and I really enjoyed that aspect. I love to see how the characters were kind of ending up and what the rest of their life would be like, and I'm really happy with how things turned out. I think this book was so good, especially some of the relationships that formed, or like they were already there but they got like expanded on and people like finally accepted them, and I really love this book. This is definitely a 5-star read. You have to read it. I'm sad it took me so long, but that's just kind of the way I am. I take a while to continue series. Can't help it. So the next book I read this month was All the Crooked Saints by Maggie Stiefvater. This book was also really good. For the first 150 pages, I wasn't sure if I liked this book. I was like, the writing's really odd, and I kind of am not excited. There's nothing really big happening. And then after the first 150 pages, I fell in love with this book and the writing and how the writing explained things. It's third person, but the narrator, it's like not a specific person, but the way it's narrated, the wording, it's really odd, but it's so beautiful when they explain certain things, and I love it. And I definitely think this is, I'm gonna go with a 4.5 because, you know, I did almost put it down in the beginning. Was difficult, but it was so good, you guys. I absolutely love this book, the way it ended and just kind of like how everything came together, because there's so many different problems going on and they feed off of each other and make the other ones work until they kind of help with solving each other. And it was super good. Oh my god, I love that book. The next book I read was, I think, An Enchantment of Ravens by Margaret Rogerson. You guys, I loved this book so much. 5 stars. This world was like nothing I've ever seen. I almost wish they would have actually developed more on the world. I wish there was like more books coming out in the series where you could see the other courts, because this book is about fairies, and it's like they're kind of separated from humans, but they visit humans for crafts, because if a fairy tries to make anything of their own, if they try to do their own craft, they basically will die if they do it for long enough. So they go to the human world to get crafts, and the main character is a painter, and she is really cool, and I like her family. It's really cool. But she paints beautiful paintings, and she gets commissioned to paint the Autumn Prince, which there's 4 courts. There's 4 courts. There's 4 courts of the 4 seasons, and the Autumn Prince is obviously, you know, one of the most powerful. I think he's actually the second most powerful court. But something about him bothers her when she's painting him. It's something with his eyes that she can't capture. And she realizes that he has human sorrow in his eyes. He has emotions, which is different because the Fae in this world really are cruel and don't seem to empathize at all, but he does. So she paints that, and that causes a lot of trouble because they see it as a weakness. The fairies see it as a weakness that he has human sorrow. So he takes her, and he's going to put her on trial in court. And, you know, things don't go as they plan to. But it's really beautifully written, and the way things come together and the ending, it's so good, and I love it, and I want another book in this world, but I don't know if that's gonna happen. So the next book I read this month is Shimmer and Burn by, I can't see, my hands in the way, Mary Taranata. I liked this book. A problem I had with it was I felt like the main character could never win. I felt like she's supposed to be a strong, powerful character, but she always gets pushed down by someone else, and she's just never successful in anything, and I very much disliked that. It almost made me not finish this book. I got so mad with the fact that she's supposed to be this powerful character, and she's letting people take advantage of her and getting beaten down and controlled. I hated it. But this is a fantasy book with, there's like a kingdom surrounded completely by mountains that's shut off from the rest of the world because there's this plague going around that feeds off of magic. And the kingdom's rather corrupt, and her sister is being mind controlled by the king because he can mind control thousands of people. And she wants to save her sister, so she decides to take this deal from the king's, not assassin, but executioner, there we go. She decides to take a deal with him where the princess, one of the princesses, wants to do something. She wants to become more, I don't even know, honestly. But it doesn't go well, and she ends up going to the outside world where the plague is, and, you know, discovering a lot more about magic and about the situation with their kingdom. Hi, Bella. Thought my door was closed. Hey, cute girl. Anyways, I really didn't like this book, honestly. Like, I love it. I thought it was cool, and there's gonna be more in the series, but I'm not gonna read it because she just never wins, and I really hate that. Like, you gotta at least win sometimes, but everything just bad happens to her, and it's sad. This is my puppy, and she loves me. Oh, Jar. I'm filming right now, though. I don't want to stop petting you because you're really cute. The next book I read this month is The Clove Prince by Holly Black. This book is amazing. 5-star read. Love it. I had to read it after I read Enchantment of Ravens because I was like, I need more fae. They're so good. So in this book, the fae are completely separate from the humans. They live in, like, valleys and, like, just areas that aren't touched by humans, but it's in also, like, a completely different world. I don't know. It's kind of confusing. But, so the main character, she has a twin sister and an older sister who is fae. She is not, and her twin sister, they're not fairies. I think they use the word fairy in this book, not fae, but so we'll just use that from now on. But she and her sisters were taken by their fairy father, and you find out why, but her parents were murdered by him, so she has to live with her parents' murderer. But she falls in love with the world, and it's just so good. But there's so much going on in this novel. Like, the king of the fairy is about to abdicate his throne to one of his children. So there's a lot of drama going on with that, and that doesn't go well because everyone's trying to get the throne. And, you know, only one person can have it. But I love this book. The main character, it's exactly the opposite problem with the Shimmer and Burn. There's not even a problem. She is a strong girl, and she does experience a lot of setbacks, but she's also powerful, and you see that. She's not supposed to be powerful and nothing ever happens. I don't know. This book was super amazing. I'm not doing a good job of explaining it. I just, like, got really distracted by my dog that's pawing at me. She's cute, though. She's also giving me allergies. But I really love it. So the main character, Jude, wants to earn a place in the court. She wants to be seen as someone powerful because she's a human. People look down on her. So she decides to try and earn that place, and it kind of builds off of there and with all the problems in the court. It's super good. So the next book I read this month is Bound by Blood and Sand by Becky Allen. This book was pretty darn good, I have to say. I would probably give it like 4 a 3.5 or 4, I think. I liked it, but it wasn't like too spectacular. I definitely won't be continuing with it though, because I think it is a series. But this is about a girl who is basically a slave in this world, and it's in the desert, and they're running out of water. The magic well they get their water from is no longer working. So she is working, as a slave, and the prince comes by because he's like the chief of water, so he goes to places and like decides how water will be dealt with and stuff. So their estate she lives at is about to be abandoned because they can no longer support sending water there. But she ends up finding this well. The well's always been there, but she sees something in the prince's papers that make her interested in it, so she goes and she cleans it. And as she's cleaning it, she finds something, and suddenly she has magic. And the magic she has can help her find the well and possibly fix it. Magic after a war was just basically completely disappeared. And there's a lot going on with government control. Yeah, Bella. Thank you. Helpful. But it's super good. And the prince wants to, like, be side by side with her and work on this. The king wants to control her. So there's definitely an issue with that. But, yeah. So the next book I read this book, it's a book of poetry. It's The Sun and Her Flowers by Rupi Kaur. I liked this. I liked how like blunt it was, but still flowed really well and kind of musical. But it was also so upsetting. She talked about a lot of really upsetting stuff. Like the first whole like section's about basically an abusive relationship, and I thought it was really good. And then the second section was about her being raped and kind of like what fed into that and the culture around rape culture and all that. And like that was really heavy stuff. I still found it interesting, but I don't know. It was good. I don't feel like I can put a star rating on this. I feel like it's almost not right to, because she's writing about her own personal experiences, and I think her writing was really well, and it was just really powerful and like hard to read. It's definitely not my favorite like book of poems I've ever read, but I do think it's really interesting. So yeah. But then the last book I read this month is probably my favorite book, tied with the Clove Prince. I don't know, but I really love this book. This is Roar by Cora Carmack. 5-star. Love it. So good. This is about a girl who is the princess. She's going to be the queen of a land, and all like the ruling families, because there's many different kingdoms, but they're all called, what is it called? Stormlings. They're all called Stormlings. They have the power to control storms. So in this world, it's ravaged by horrible storms that can actually hunt, like the humans are their prey and they'll hunt for them. And they're kind of intelligent actually, which is interesting. Not too intelligent, but they have intelligence in relation to hunting. And these storms have hearts that you can take, and if you take them you become more powerful. So Stormlings have the power to fight these storms and take their hearts and use them. But the issue is the main character does not have Stormling power, and so she cannot protect her kingdom from storms if she becomes queen. So she's forced to marry someone who is like a prince of a different place who is really powerful so that she can protect her kingdom. But then she finds out that there is a black market for magic where you can buy and sell magic. And she realizes she might have another option than marrying this kind of cruel prince, actually. And it just develops from there, and her trying to find her own magic for her own kingdom. But what I loved about this book is you found out that a lot of things aren't as they seem for everything. For her own kingdom, for the prince, it's just super good. And I love it. And it's one of my favorite books, and I'm definitely going to be buying it and continuing the series. But I hope you like this video. It wasn't my best, I have to say. I don't know. My dog distracted me, and some of these books I felt like I read so long ago, which was weird, so I almost didn't know how to describe them. But I really had a good reading month, I'd have to say. And I'm really excited for next month because I put holds on a lot of new releases, and I bought some new releases, so I'm going to be reading some fun books next month. But I'll see you all in my next video. Bye bye!